Hey, what's up guys? This is Technical Tim here. I want to thank everyone so much again for who's been subscribing to the channel. It means a lot to me, and everyone who's been liking my videos as well. It means to the world, so thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. And if you enjoy the content of this video, I'd really appreciate if you like the video as well. And just a couple of house cleaning items. I added some playlists on the channel. There's one that's like called UFC recaps, and I'm gonna put all my recaps in there going forward, and I've done my two that I've already done for Philadelphia and Nashville, and then I have another playlist called previews, so all the previews are in there. You know how I do like random previews, like the Marais one and then this one right now. So those will all be in there going forward. And I also I did a single leg kind of discussion the other day, and that one's kind of under like betting tips and techniques. So I just put them in those three categories, so they're really easy for you to find going forward, so you don't have to search through. So if you're just interested in previews, you can just go to the previews and watch those. So I just wanted to make it easier for you, more user-friendly for you all. So yeah, that's that. And I want to, on this video, I'm going to talk about Israel Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum, and why I'm still kind of deciding if I'm going to play Israel, but Kelvin Gastelum is not worth the dog at the current odds. I wouldn't play him at anything over like mid plus 200s, like quite honestly. I wouldn't play him at over that. I think right now he's like Israel's only minus 170 right now, so if you're going to play him, I would do it now. I don't know how these odds are going to go. It's kind of hard to predict, but I feel like he'll probably become more of a favorite, Israel. So if you are going to play him, I'd play him now. But Kelvin at plus one, I think he's like plus 140 right now or something. I wouldn't play him from plus 140 all the way to about plus 250, to be quite honest with you. So I doubt he'll get up to those odds anyway. So I just would kind of not play him no matter what. I don't think he's worth the play. And I'm going to kind of break down this fight and kind of interlace the reasons why I don't think he's worth the play. And I hope this video is helpful for you. So, for Kelvin, I kind of see three different ways he could potentially win. You know, there's always random things that can happen, like injuries, whatever, like DQs, but I'm talking about three general ways that seem pretty repeatable and not just kind of a really super random occurrence. One, he could sting him with a punch. You know, everyone's got a puncher's chance in the sport, although some are a lot higher than others. So he's got that route. And then he's got a grappling route that could either be won by getting probably a submission or off a back take, or just kind of out grappling him and kind of holding him down. So those are the three ways I see him winning this fight. He's going to have to knock him out on the feet in a fight that he's probably going to be getting outstruck on pretty badly. Two, get a back take off some type of scramble, or three, keep taking him down and hold him there, or just like get a submission from there. So I'm going to now tell you why I don't think all three of those outcomes add up to his implied odds right now. I think they add up to less than that. I don't think that they add up to about like 40% or whatever his implied odds are right now. So one, I want to kind of first dismiss the one punch KO. So on the feet, Israel throws a really good jab. He has way more weapons, and he fights going backwards really well. And Kelvin Gastelum has two punches. He throws a 1 and a 2. He'll throw like a kick here and there, but pretty much he throws a 1-2, two straight punches. And he uses pressure to complement his 1-2. And I don't, first of all, I think Israel's too good moving backwards to get caught with something like that. And Kelvin, his striking kind of just, his power kind of goes downhill a little bit, I feel like, throughout the fight. But beside that, I just don't think he can land clean on a guy like Israel with 2 basic punches. I just don't think a 1-2 is going to cut it, because I think Israel's going to be ready for it. And that's all he really has. And Israel doesn't panic getting pressured, so I think he'll be fine. He moves backwards, defensive, and then he's defensive and offensively competent as well, moving backwards. And he can just move laterally right to left really, really well. So I think he's not going to get a KO, Kelvin, because one, he's not going to be able to consistently land on Israel with his 1-2, and he's just going to get pieced up on the feet. There's too much coming back his way from Israel. There's a really good jab, body kicks from Israel, and he can switch stances. I just think everything that Israel does will be just a little too much for him to kind of land a KO. And then the other reason I don't think he's going to get a KO, so there's one, I don't think he can land clean on Israel for the reasons I mentioned. And two, I don't think his KO power is like all that great. Because people kind of keep mentioning that. So he has 4 knockouts in the UFC. 4 stoppages from strikes. 1, Michael Bisping. GSP hurt Michael Bisping. Like, so let's be honest. Michael Bisping was at the tail, like the end of his career. He'd been getting hit, just hurt so much. GSP hurt him. Henderson dropped him multiple times when Henderson was like 46 years old or something. And I just don't put much stock into him knocking out Michael Bisping. I feel like there's a ton of welterweights who don't even have that much power who could have knocked out Michael Bisping at that time of his career. The other one was Vitor Belfort, who was also well past his prime. So it's like 2 really old legends. I don't put much stock into that. And that's the only time out of his 4 KOs that he knocked someone pretty much dead with 1 punch. The other 2 he had were accumulation knockouts off Nate Marquardt, and I'm currently blanking on the other one. I can't, hold on. It's Nate Marquardt and I can't remember. But they were accumulation knockouts where he was just landing his 1-2 over and over and over and kind of overwhelm them. He's not going to be able to overwhelm Israel. Israel's too defensively sound and too good of a striker for him to just walk him down and land a 1-2 and over. So I don't think the knockout's going to happen because I don't think he can land clean, because he's not going to get his accumulation knockout like he did on those other 2 guys. And the only time he's ever knocked anyone out was 2 old guys. I don't think that's gonna. I would just be really surprised if he knocked out Israel clean. So that's that. The other way I see him winning this fight is just kind of like getting him down and holding him there and winning rounds that way, or getting him down and subbing him. So obviously the takedown is really important here. And I went into this hard, taping it hard. Gastelum has 2 primary ways that he tends to get people down to the ground. He'll push you up against the cage, and like with a clinch, he'll kind of start working from underhooks and maybe just some sort of takedown that way. And then he has a double leg. The first thing he does, the clinch, I don't think it's going to work at a reliable rate. He can maybe get a takedown doing it in this fight. It's a 5-round fight. Shit can happen. I just don't think he can do it consistently. And that's been his go-to, the clinch, in his latter fights. The double leg was kind of earlier in his career, and I'll get to that. But Israel, I don't think that's going to work on Israel, the clinch takedowns. So Kelvin really did them a lot versus Uriah Hall, and he also did them versus Neil Magny. And Neil Magny would grab a wrist. He would grab a wrist and then kind of circle to the left or to the right, or grab an underhook. And I've seen Israel against Brad Tavares and Derek Brunson defend that same type of clinch, and Derek Brunson might even be a little better than Kelvin there, or similar, you know. And Israel, he did the same thing that Neil Magny was doing against Kelvin. It kept working versus Kelvin. He would get wrist control and just circle off, or dig an underhook and circle off. And Kelvin tends to give up underhooks pretty easily when he pushes you up against the cage. and Israel moves really well laterally. He's really good on his exits. So I don't think the clinching is going to work all that much. Israel's obviously been working on that part of his game, and I just don't think that will be a good way for Kelvin to get him down. It could happen. I mean, if he just is really persistent with it, maybe he gets like he goes like 1 for 4 on takedowns going that route, but I just don't think it's that likely. Could happen, but low percentage. The other one's a double leg. That's what I do think could happen. I do think he could land a double leg on Israel, but he doesn't shoot him all that much anymore. So that's one reason to not be too scared of them. And Israel's shown some decent first layer sprawls and takedowns off double legs, especially against Derek Brunson. But I've seen you could, if you time a shot well, you can get Israel down. I think the double leg's the way to go. He's good in the clinch though. Like that, I think that's a no-go for Kelvin. But I could see the double leg working, but I don't know if it will work all that often, but I do think it could happen. So there's that. So really, right now, I don't think there's much of a KO threat, and I don't think there's all that many takedown threats, but I do think the double leg can happen. But even if he gets him down, Kelvin isn't that great. He's a black belt. Everyone's going to say that. He's a 10th planet belt, black belt. I don't even know people's belts usually. I played Jillian Robertson over Macedo, and Robertson was a lower belt. And whenever I made that play, people were like, well, Macedo's a higher belt than her. And I was like, I didn't even know that. So I go off what happens in the cage, the grappling that happens in the cage. And if I haven't seen someone's grappling and two people are going against each other, I haven't seen either, I might default to their belts by that way. But if I've seen them, I'm going to go by what I've seen. So, Kelvin, he really can only just get a back take and kind of put hooks in, but he doesn't even do that all that well. He'll kind of just ride you. And Israel does a really good job at pushing off with his hands whenever he's in guard, and Israel has good guard retention, and pushing off with the bottom of his feet to create space and scramble up. And I don't think Israel will be all that vulnerable on the floor anyway, even if he gets taken down. So I don't think he's going to hold him down all that much. And I think Kelvin also kind of slows down, and his takedowns and grappling kind of goes to shit once he's doing it a lot. So I think it will get easier for Israel to stop the takedowns and get up as the fight goes on. And I think even if Kelvin gets success with the ground, with just like the ground time, I think there's a pretty big striking discrepancy here anyway that Israel would probably just compensate for it on the feet. So, so I don't think he's going to be able to take him down all that consistently and be able to hold him down to consistently win rounds. And then the other thing is, I talked about he'll take your back, and I've seen Israel get his back taken before. But overall, I think his defense was pretty good from what I saw. I saw it happen against Brad Tavares, and he defended pretty well. There was a little bit of risk, I think, from what I've seen, because he kind of settled and didn't pop up immediately when he gave up his back. But Kelvin's not all that. He's not all that quick to put his hooks in anyway, so I think Israel will be fine. So that's kind of, I think I hit on everything, but I think the main thing is that Israel's going to be dominating him on the feet for all the reasons I suggested, and he might not knock him out or anything, but I think he's just going to be ahead on the volume. He throws a lot more volume, and I don't think Kelvin is going to be able to knock him out the first path that I talked about. And then 2, I don't know if he'll be able to take him down and keep him there, or take him down and submit him, because Israel isn't that easy to take down. He is a little susceptible to a double leg, but he fights the clinch really well, and even when he's on his back, he's good at just pushing off with his hands and his feet to create separation and get up, and he seems to be decent and aware of getting his back taken. So for all those reasons, I do not think Kelvin is worth the play at these odds. I think he should be a bigger underdog than what the odds indicate. And not to mention, Israel has really, really good cardio, and he doesn't get lethargic as the fight goes on, where Kelvin will get a little more plodding and a little more hittable. And so, like, all those reasons that I've kind of mentioned, I just do not think Kelvin's worth the play here. So thank you so much for listening. Like or subscribe, and if you have any comments, just write below or message me on Twitter. So thank you all so much. If you want the rest of if you want like all my picks for the event, I'm kind of peppering them throughout the week, and they're on my Bet MMA page, which is in the description box of this video. So thank you so much. Bye.